I'm Carl Zobrist, partner in the Denton's law firm here in Kansas City and a former member of the Kansas City Board of Police Commissioners. Working in law enforcement today is a difficult job. We know that you are confronted with challenging situations on a daily basis that require you to balance the safety and well-being of the public with enforcing the law with justice while keeping yourself safe. At times this seems like an impossible job, but we know that you are up to the challenge. Please know that you have our support in this never-ending journey toward peace in our community and justice for all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Javier Perez, and I serve as the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission board member. Welcome to our 71st annual appreciation event. To everyone who wears the badge, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the important work that you do. The year 2020 has certainly brought us a double-edged sword, one of promise and one of peril. It has caused us to rethink how and where we work, how we may better become truly a community of one. The Crime Commission has helped create many successes and offers hope for our community. Getting our story told has never been more important. Sharing our message and building new successes stories can only be accomplished if we are willing to reach out to those beyond who we are comfortable with. While 2020 has presented difficult challenges, I'm confident that working together, we can be a community of one.
Let me share with you some thoughts about two of our society's greatest thinkers, Linus and Lucy. Linus is watching television, sitting on the sofa, not bothering anyone, enjoying himself. Lucy walks into the room and she says to Linus, I want you to change the channel. I don't want to look at what you're watching. I want to look at my own show. Linus says, no, I will not do it. Why should I change the channel for you? And why should I give up watching what I want to see? And she said to Linus, do you see these five fingers? Well, when I bring them together like this, they represent a power unknown and unseen by humankind. Linus said, okay, I get your point. But as he turns away, walking over to turn the television channels, he looks at his own hand and he says to his fingers, why can't you guys get together like that? Well, I wonder if God looks down on our nation, our community, and wonders, why can't we get together? This disunity that I see all around the country and all around our community has to stop. I fear that if it does not stop, our country is in trouble. However, let me say this. My heart would break into 1,000 pieces if I believed that this was going to be our end. We can be better, and we're going to be better. We must be better. We have been blessed by God. Thank you.
A safe community starts with love and respect for each other and appreciation for those who risk their lives to protect us. We thank all police officers for your dedicated service.
This is the most important time in probably the biggest work that we can ever do together. Let's stand together, Kansas City, and make our community a better place.
Hello, my name is Boyd McGathy, and it's been my privilege to serve as the chairman of the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission for these past 2 years. Today, I want to thank all of our sponsors in helping us recognize and appreciate law enforcement throughout the Kansas City metropolitan area and those community leaders that join us in the mission of powering a safer Kansas City. We all want fair policing in the Kansas City metropolitan area, and we're very fortunate to have some of the best there is right here in our own area, helping us make a safer Kansas City. We're in this together. Let's work together and let's make Kansas City the best it can be and as safe as it can be. Thank you.
My name is Brett Lewis, and I'm the office managing partner of Grant Thornton in Kansas City. We're living in very challenging times across our world, country, and in Kansas City. However, we live in a very thriving and beautiful place in Kansas City, and now more than ever, it's time for our community to come together and make this a safer place to live, work, and play. Thank you, Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission, for your leadership in these efforts.
We are the future.
So let's join together
to make our great city the best it can be.
From our entire A.L. Huber family,
thanks for what you do
to keep us safe.
Hello, I'm Angelo Trozzolo, President and CEO of Trozzolo Communications Group. On behalf of all of us at Trozzolo, I want to offer a heartfelt thank you to the good men and women of law enforcement and to the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission. We appreciate everything you do to keep our community safe. The last several months have proven how critical it is to work together for positive change. Kansas City is a special place. It's our place. It's our home. And we have a great responsibility to work together to make it a Kansas City we can all feel safe in. Thank you again to law enforcement and to the Crime Commission for everything you do day in and day out. We are here to support you and to work with you to create a safer community for all.
In 2011, my son, Antonio Thompson, who was only 26 years old, was found murdered in his apartment. I had to do something. I had to make a difference in my community, where I was born and raised here in Kansas City. I started KC Mothers in Charge. I am the executive director of KC Mothers in Charge. Every time it's a homicide scene, I'm called out by the murder squad of the Kansas City Police Department. I go out and service families. We today are at 132 homicides. We need help. I beg for my community to come together to do something to make a difference. Kansas City, we say no more. We say we stand with our community to make a difference. All lives matter.
On behalf of everyone at Kansas City Southern, one of Kansas City's longest-standing headquartered companies in our community, we want to thank all the men and women of law enforcement. Thank you for keeping our community safe, and thanks for all you do for us.
Hi there, I'm Stephen Penn, Managing Partner at KPMG. And on behalf of the families of the more than 300 KPMG professionals who call Kansas City home, we thank you for what you do every day to make Kansas City a safer place. Now, our people know the value of teamwork, and that's why we're committed to teaming with you, working together to make Kansas City a better place for all of us. Thank you.
On behalf of U.S. Engineering and our 1,200 team members, we say thank you. As a community of one, we thank you for your service and dedication.
Hello, happy Friday. On behalf of Dave Johnson and the Chicken and Pickle family, we just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything you do for this town and our community. We all love Kansas City, and thank you for keeping us safe.
The First Missouri Bank family is honored to support the Crime Commission's Community of One event. Even though this year's event is being held virtually, it's encouraging to see so many members of the community joining together to celebrate our Kansas City, the city we are today and a city we will strive to be tomorrow. We at First Missouri Bank aspire, as you do, to make a difference in the communities we serve. We sincerely appreciate and thank you for the challenging work you do for our city every day.
Hello and warm virtual greetings from Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. I'm Ron Rowe, Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at Blue KC and a proud member of the KC Crime Commission's Board of Directors. Blue KC believes in the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission's mission to advocate, develop strategies, and operate innovative programs that bring people and public safety agencies together. Crime in our city impacts the health of our community and families, and we know the statistics are becoming more troubling day by day. That's why we appreciate and support the Commission and their efforts to bring Kansas Cityans together to find a solution. At Blue KC, we're here for good. This is our city, our home, and together we can make KC a safer, healthier community for all.
Good afternoon. I'm Rick Armstrong, President of the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission, and welcome to our Community of One annual Crime Commission Luncheon, and the first time we are coming to you virtually. For the past 23 years, Laura Morris of Channel 9 KMBC has served on the board of the directors for the Crime Commission's Crime Stoppers program. She has also emceed our Crime Commission's annual luncheon for as many years as I can remember. But Laura is much more than an award-winning news anchor, Crime Stoppers board member, or MC. She is a member of our community, and she cares deeply.
I just want to reiterate that we're all part of this community, all of us. All the things that people are angry about and that they're sad about, and all the things that have happened, it affects each and every one of us, directly and indirectly. And I guess my whole thing is, I just wish as a community we could all come together, figure this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and Channel 9 news anchor, Laura Morris.
Thank you, Rick. I am so privileged and honored to be here this year. This is by far the most difficult year I feel like we have experienced as a community, but I feel more honored than ever to stand before all of you members of law enforcement. You have my deep respect and you have my deep love for what you do. I know you go out there every single day to protect and to serve our community. We are at a time right now where our community is fragmented. We are on all different sides, and I see it, especially as a journalist. And if we can listen to one another, and if we can find a way to bridge all of the sides and walk together as a community, I know we can achieve great, great things. But I will always continue to pray for your safety because I know your hearts are with our community. And that's why I am so honored to host, especially this year, the Crime Commission's 71st Annual Law Enforcement Appreciation Luncheon and their first Community of One virtual event. Thank you all for joining us today. We have a lot of work to do to unite our community. Many of you have supported the work of the Crime Commission for many, many years. But some of you are hearing about this special nonprofit for the first time, and I hope that you will be encouraged by the messages you hear from various community leaders, by the examples of the Crime Commission's core programs, and their impact by a compelling and honest conversation with our very special guest, Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall, and by the inspirational stories of the Crime Commission's 2020 award winners. We move forward in faith and hope. And with that, for our invocation, I'd like to introduce Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church Pastor John Modest Miles.
Please join me in prayer. Lord, you are our strength and shield. We trust with all of our heart. Help us that our hearts will be filled with joy. Give our law enforcement strength that they might know that there is greatness in your name. O Lord our God, accomplish in all of us a wholeness of life that can raise us above our disappointments and give us a sense of inward peace, achievement, and comfort as we strive onward toward the goal. Amen.
Please welcome Boyd McGathey, Chairman of the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission Board of Directors.
71 years ago this week, on the 30th day of September, 1949, the Kansas City Crime Commission was incorporated under the authority of the Missouri Supreme Court with the mission of promoting a safer Kansas City. It was a time when organized crime and public corruption was rampant. The founders of the Crime Commission, a group of Kansas City civic and business leaders, saw the need for citizen involvement in the fight against crime and began to build bridges between the community and the police. Today, that need is more important than ever. As we convene today, Kansas City, Missouri is on record pace for homicides. Violent crime is on the rise all around the country. So is the movement to defund the police. The job of being a police officer or a police chief has never been more difficult. National news stories report daily on the record number of police officers and police chiefs who are retiring, resigning, or being terminated. 86% of police chiefs nationwide report a shortage of officers. Some departments have reported an increase in retirements of over 400%. Couple that with the fact that the police departments across the country are experiencing record lows in officer applications, making it virtually impossible to fill the void. All of these issues underscore the vital importance that we at the Crime Commission feel compelled to help address. The Crime Commission acknowledges the difficult issues we face as a community, but it is also our experience that our local law enforcement is responsive to change and that they care deeply about our citizens. Through the challenges brought about by COVID-19 and the social unrest and protests, the Crime Commission continues its work to build bridges between our local law enforcement partners, our civic and business partners, and our Kansas City citizens to accomplish great things. We are partnering with local, state, and federal agencies to combat violent crime with the Project Safe Neighborhood Initiative. We are helping solve homicides with Crime Stoppers Tips Hotline. We are assisting thousands of formerly incarcerated individuals transition into a self-sufficient, productive life and avoid recidivism. We are working with harvesters to help deliver meals. We have given immediate financial assistance to 4 of our first responder families who have lost loved ones in 2020. I'm honored to represent the Crime Commission and its board of directors. It is our hope today that everyone watching will grasp the message that no matter how difficult things appear, if we work together as a community of one, we can move towards positive change and a safer, better Kansas City for us all.
And now the mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, Mayor Quinton Lucas.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas. And although I wanted us to be able to spend some time in person together, I am happy to be with you virtually for this Metropolitan Crime Commission event. Each day, so many of you in law enforcement, so many of you who support our law enforcement, make a tremendous difference for Kansas Cityans and throughout our community. We know this has been a year of challenge, from COVID-19 to protests to our ongoing struggle against violent crime in Kansas City and our surrounding areas. But we also know that this is a year where your creativity, your hard work, and your compassion for our community has made a tremendous difference in the life of Kansas Citians. I know that these have not been easy times. I know that the hours have been long, the challenge is severe, but I want you to know that I stand with you and this city stands with you. I've been touched by a few things as we've gone through particularly recent months. During the protest movement, I remember talking to folks who lived in East Kansas City, African Americans who'd lived there for years, who said, we like our police, we thank them, and we want to work with them to make this community safer. I remember talking to a police officer off of 19th and Paseo after an incident who said, you know, I know times are tough, but I do this job because I love this city and I love the people who are in this city. And so I just want to make sure that you know, from all of us, from people around the gamut, from across the political paradigm, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to doing more hard work so that our city can be safer, so that we don't read about the tragedies in the news, and so that we know that no matter your community in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, or anywhere, that you know you can be safe and that children can grow up. So again, thank you for what you do. I hope you make sure that you stay in touch over the year ahead, and I stay committed to working with all of you, working with everyone to making sure our community will be safe. God bless you all. God bless the Crime Commission, and God bless our great city.
Throughout my years as a board member for the Crime Commission's Crime Stoppers program, I've had the privilege of getting to know an individual who has served our community for 37 years in law enforcement, including his years as Chief of Police for the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department and the Kansas City, Kansas Public School District. Now in his 5th year as President of the Crime Commission, please welcome back to the stage, Rick Armstrong.
Thank you, Laura. Over the past 71 years, the Crime Commission has worked to establish long-standing relationships with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, along with our business leaders and our entire community. We've developed 4 core programs to help fill the gaps in the cycle of crime and help power a safer, better Kansas City. As a nationally recognized nonprofit, we rely not on your tax dollars, but rather on donations and grants to fund the operation of our programs. Our funding goes right back into our community in the form of the services we provide. The first of our Crime Commission core programs was established in 1982, and the first anonymous calls began rolling into the Crime Stoppers Tips Hotline. Since then, it has become one of the 3 most successful Crime Stoppers programs worldwide, clearing over 25,400 felony cases, including 659 homicides. The Greater Kansas City Crime Stoppers Tips Hotline combats crime directly by providing safe and anonymous outlets for the public to share information without the threat of retaliation. Last year, the reward for a homicide tip that led to an arrest was increased to $25,000 in Kansas City, Missouri, which has led to the solving of 15 homicides in the past year alone. Earlier this week, a 1-year-old child became the 144th homicide victim this year in Kansas City. Last year at this time, 114 homicides had been recorded. We are on a heartbreaking, record-setting pace for violent crime and homicide. This can't continue. We need your help.
I love playing hide and seek. I love to draw. I want pancakes. This tall. I love to jump on the trampoline. I want to go on a super fast water slide. I want to go to college.
As you can see, safety is everyone's responsibility. Our children deserve to grow up in a safe neighborhood. In 1994, another core program was established with the Metropolitan Community Service Program as a restorative justice option. The aim of the MCSP program is to transform the destructive effects of crime into constructive community aid by working with our clients to allow them to repay their community through service rather than costly incarceration. MCSP targets weekly cleanups in high crime areas to assist neighborhoods and to improve the quality of life for one and for all. But MCSP is much more than a community cleanup program. Harvesters has long been one of our key community service partners. This year, our MCSP clients have assisted harvesters in distributing food during this time of economic downturn due to the pandemic. From Harvesters, please welcome Paula Pratt.
Thank you, Rick. Harvesters, the Community Food Network, is this region's food bank serving the 5-county metro Kansas City area and beyond. Harvesters has a long-standing and productive relationship with MCSP dating back more than 20 years. Every hour of community service that someone performs at Harvesters saves us money. And that means we have more resources to feed people in our community. The independent sector values each volunteer hour at $27.20. Since every dollar helps to provide 3 meals, 1 volunteer hour provides 81 meals. Harvesters has seen a 40% increase in the need for food assistance since the pandemic, which means these hours are even more critical to Harvesters' mission. We're very grateful for the relationship with MCSP and look forward to working together many more years.
Thank you, Paula, and to Harvesters for everything you do for our community. Recognizing the need to support the families left behind when local first responders give their lives in the line of duty, we launched our 3rd core program, the Surviving Spouse and Family Endowment Fund, or SAFE program, in 2003. Covering 12 counties in and around the metropolitan area, SAFE provides immediate financial support to the families of local police officers, firefighters, and emergency service personnel who are killed or suffer catastrophic injuries in the line of duty. Since its inception, SAFE has paid over $500,000 in benefits to 33 surviving families. This year alone, we've lost 4 first responders. West Peculiar firefighter Chuck McCormick, Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department EMT Billy Birmingham, Overland Park, Kansas Police Officer Michael Mosier, and Independence firefighter David Jameson.
Well, I watched Mike walk out the door every day, knowing that he was putting himself in harm's way for his community, and that was a commitment that he made. That was a sacrifice that we made together as a family.
Maureen Mosier had no idea on that sunny Sunday afternoon in May would be the last time she would see her husband alive.
Shell-shocked feeling like you don't know what to do, really, so you just keep breathing, you keep thinking, okay, one thing at a time, what needs to happen next.
Within 24 hours of Mike's death, members of the organization SAFE came to see Corinne.
Understanding what I needed at that moment, and I didn't know what I needed at that moment.
SAFE immediately gave Corinne a check for $25,000 to help pay for expenses. But it was the love and kindness in the way it was given that she'll never forget.
The feeling of just being able to kind of lean into somebody. I hope they know what that means.
That support and affection SAFE offered to Corinne mirrors how Mike served his community with love and affection.
We have this hashtag, Be Like Mike. And what does that mean? Why should we be like Officer Mike Mosier? It's because of his commitment to his community. It was his compassionate service that he gave through charitable organizations.
And in my conversation with Corinne, she said that she, Mike, and their daughter Tyler have always prided themselves as being people that helped the community. So when SAFE stepped up and helped her and with their charitable acts, 24 hours after Mike passed, Corinne said that's something that she'll never forget, and what a gift from the SAFE Foundation and from the community.
Thank you, Laura and Corinne, for that heartwarming story. In 2008, the Crime Commission launched the Second Chance Risk Reduction Center. Since then, Second Chance has helped thousands of formerly incarcerated individuals in their transition to become self-sufficient and productive members of society. Second Chance provides resources to overcome common barriers, reduce recidivism, and instill hope and lasting change. In the past 7 years, over 1,700 individuals have graduated from our Crime Commission's Second Chance program. Less than 5% of them committed another crime. This means less crime in our community, fewer victims, and renewed hope for the future generations. Here's Second Chance Program Director Tracy Kirksey with a story.
One of our Second Chance program graduates has agreed to share his story with us today. Individuals released from incarceration face many barriers to successfully return to the community. As you can imagine, doors are often closed when past history is revealed. And for that reason, we are protecting his identity. Can you tell us a little about your story?
I spent 20 years in prison from 1997 until 2018. I was released from prison.
How did you get to the Second Chance program?
In 2013, I was given a parole date for the year 2018. And when I got my date in 2013, they put me in a medium security prison. While I was in a medium security prison, I was introduced to Brittany Peterson, who works at Second Chance. And I liked the fact that she was telling me about things that it could help me get my life together as independent as possible.
What are some of the things that you have accomplished while in the Second Chance program?
Well, I was there. First of all, I work as an electrician, and they helped me with my first place. They helped me with furniture and clothes, and took care of my first month's rent. But also, they gave me an opportunity to have somebody in my life that's there for me now still. I mean, I've been out now for almost 3 years, and I still go back to Second Chance and still talk to the people there because I feel like they care.
What's life like for you now?
A lot of work, a lot of traveling, still working out, just enjoying life. Just every day is a new experience. When you've been in prison for 20 years, you've missed out on a lot of stuff, so everything is new to me, and I enjoy it.
What would you tell someone maybe in your similar situation returning from incarceration?
I think whenever you get out of prison, you need to be encouraged whenever you see somebody who's come from where you come from, whether it be from prison or rough, not childhood or upbringing, whatever, and just kind of run your own race. Don't be discouraged. Be encouraged, because a lot of times people will get out and they'll see people and they'll be discouraged because their situation doesn't look the same as somebody else's. And you should just be encouraged by the fact that somebody is winning and doing the right thing. So,
thank you.
No problem.
As you've seen, the work we're doing at the Crime Commission through our core programs is addressing both the causes and the effects of crime, and it's yielding impactful evidence-based results. I'm honored to work with an incredibly dedicated and talented staff at the Crime Commission. But we are not alone in those efforts. Each year, we recognize several individuals or businesses who stand out in their efforts to better the lives of everyone in every corner of our community. We've asked some very special community leaders to help us make this year's award presentations. To begin with, here first to present the 2020 William Dunn Senior Award is William Dunn's son, Bob Dunn.
Thank you, Rick. My father, William H. Dunn Sr., helped found the Second Chance program in 2008. He has been an active member and supporter for many years. It is my honor to be here today to represent my father and for the first time present the 2020 William H. Dunn Sr. Award to a Second Chance program graduate. You just heard this graduate's story. I'd like to tell you a little more about our award winner's journey through reentry. Prior to his release, he was one of the facilitators of the Transition to Freedom pre-release program. During this time, he served as a consistent leader and role model for his peers and helped other inmates prepare for their own releases. While incarcerated, he developed a relationship with members of Second Chance staff. Within 3 hours of his release, he attended a Second Chance job club and took the first steps outside the prison to overcome reentry barriers and rebuild his life. With his hard work and determination to succeed, he is now supervised on the lowest level of parole and has fulfilled his goal of living independently. As of today, our 2020 award winner is a productive member of our Kansas City community and has developed his skills as an electrician. He continues to participate in reentry events in the community to help build hope for others who are reentering. He has shared his story at a crime commission event and volunteered his time at Harvesters and at reentry simulation for the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce. Our 2020 William H. Dunn Award winner is a true example of someone who has succeeded when given a second chance. Congratulations on being the recipient of the Second Chance Foundation William H. Dunn Senior Award.
Thank you to the Dunn family and the Crime Commission for this honor. And thank you to the Second Chance staff for believing in me and walking beside me on my reentry journey.
Congratulations to our William Dunn Senior Award winner, and thank you for your willingness to assist our Second Chance staff with others who are reentering. Our next award is new this year. At the request of the longtime Crime Commission supporter, Commerce Bank, a new Community Policing Award has been created. We now welcome Vice Chairman of Commerce Bank and Crime Commission Board Member, Jay Rudin.
Thanks, Rick. The Community Policing Award was created to recognize a law enforcement officer who has demonstrated the ability to resolve a potentially violent or crisis situation using de-escalation techniques and problem-solving skills, or partnering with mental health services, social services, to achieve the best possible outcome. The recipient of this first ever Commerce Bank Community Policing Award is Kansas City, Missouri Police Department Officer Marc Canovi. Over the past 3 years, Marc has been an invaluable asset to KCPD's Crisis Intervention Team, otherwise known as CIT. His duties include following up with chronic or dangerous, emotionally disturbed persons, assisting with the CIT training classes, and working with various community providers and organizations. Officer Canovi coordinates the homeless outreach team for KCPD as well. He conducts outreach and visits various camps weekly with support from the VA, Restart, Truman Medical Center, and others. Marc is often called to help de-escalate situations involving emotionally disturbed persons. He has used non-traditional policing methods to resolve high-risk situations with no force or injury. 3 recent events showcasing Officer Canovi's de-escalation abilities are as follows. The first incident was a female threatening to jump from a 4th-floor balcony. Marc immediately had to create space between the officers at the scene to establish a dialogue. He was able to get the subject's social worker to respond to the scene, and it was determined the issue stemmed from a lack of food and provisions. Marc was able to convince the female to leave the balcony, and he got her to safety. He then worked to get her the food and groceries to solve what precipitated the crisis. On the second occasion, a subject was planning to create a suicide by cop, a term used in the industry that we don't like to talk about. Situation, instead of being directly confronting the subject, Marc was able to get the family member to assist and connect to him with his inpatient treatment. And on the third event, Marc responded to a man threatening to jump from a bridge. During his contact, the man began to jump, and Officer Canovi was able to pull him over to safety. He then engaged the man with mental health services. It is my honor to present the 2020 Commerce Bank Community Policing Award
to Kansas City, Missouri Police Officer Marc Canovi. Marc?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Reardon. I'm honored to be the first recipient of the Commerce Bank Community Policing Award. I would like to express my appreciation to Commerce Bank for recognizing me. I would also like to thank my fellow officers and my family for their support and assistance in helping me earn this award.
Congratulations, Marc.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Officer Canovi, and thank you, Jay. It is now my privilege to introduce the presenter of our next award. Coming to us today from our nation's capital, former mayor of Kansas City, and now representing Missouri's 5th Congressional District. Please welcome Congressman Emanuel Cleaver.
Hello. Ivanhoe Davis was an outstanding civic leader with an extraordinary vision for the future. He was, of course, mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, a member and leader of the Crime Commission, and one of the founding fathers of our nationally known Crime Stoppers program. I believed the business community had a responsibility to work with law enforcement and the other criminal justice agencies to make our metropolitan area safe and secure. This year's Ivanhoe Davis Award recipient is Bailus Tate. Bailus was a retired executive from the Kansas City Power and Light Company. Throughout his professional career and beyond, Bailus was a civic leader, devoting himself to promoting safety and supporting law enforcement in Kansas City. Now, Bailus served on the Board of Police Commissioners from 1987 through 1995, and on the Crime Commission Board of Directors from 1995 until his untimely death, June 30th of this year. Bailus also had the unique accomplishment of serving as both President of the Police Commissioners Board and Chair of the Crime Commission. During his 25 years of service on the Crime Commission's main Board of Directors, Bailus also volunteered 16 years on the board of the SAFE program and another 12 years on the board for the Second Chance program. All told, Bailus provided 61 years of board service in support of law enforcement and justice agencies. Bailus was well respected and loved. He was always a constant purveyor of wisdom, fairness, and consistency, all the characteristics deserving of the Ivanhoe Davis Award. Bailus was a man of exceptional integrity who loved this city. He generously gave his time, talent, and treasure to support and help make Kansas City a safer and better community for everyone. Bailus Tate exemplified the very spirit of the Ivanhoe Davis Award at a time when we need this spirit more than ever. It is my privilege to present this year's Ivanhoe Davis Award posthumously to Bailus Tate. And here to receive the award is his beloved wife of over 50 years. Please welcome Debbie Tate.
Thank you, Congressman Cleaver. Bailus loved Kansas City, and he loved the Crime Commission. He would be deeply honored to receive this Ivanhoe Davis Award. I am proud of my husband's accomplishments and the work he did to help make our community a safer, better place for all.
Debbie, we know that you and Bailus were a team, and we thank you for being a supporter of the Crime Commission alongside Bailus. Here at the Crime Commission, we have great respect for our next presenter. He is a Kansas City icon, one of the first African Americans to serve in the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. He also served as a Kansas City, Missouri City Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem. He was a commissioner for the Police Board of Commissioners, and he founded the Ad Hoc Group Against Crime. He is a longtime supporter and honorary board member of the Crime Commission. He speaks with quiet strength, and we are honored to have him with us here today. Please welcome my friend, Alvin Brooks.
Rick, I'm humbled to present this next award. It bears my name. I'm also inspired by the person who won it this year, from the Missouri House of Representatives, Representative Yolanda Young. Representative Young is currently serving the people of Jackson County District 22. Beyond her legislative duties, Representative Young is Managing Director of the Community Outreach and Engagement for Kansas City. In fact, for over 3 decades, Representative Young has worked tirelessly to improve the quality of life for the citizens of the Ivanhoe neighborhood, where she and her husband have been longtime residents and raised their family. She developed the Young Family Farm, an urban farm in her district to provide healthy food alternatives for more neighbors in the urban core. For many years, she worked closely with the neighborhood Kansas City, Missouri Police Department Community Action Team to develop and implement numerous programs through the Ivanhoe Neighborhood Council program and crime prevention-related activities that promote school attendance and abstinence from alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs, and violence. These programs include the Ivanhoe Council of Elders, the Restorative Justice Program, the Boy and Girl Scouts, and sports and chess and music program. Representative Young worked with partners like Police Athletic League, Jackson County Family Court, Combat, United Way, Kaufman Foundation, and many others to engage youth and their families and help build a stronger community and reduce the risk factors for crime and violence. You see, Representative Young represents much more than District 22. She represents grassroots mobilization. She has turned her passion and conviction into tangible, impactful results. And for that, I'm honored to present the 2020 Alvin Brooks Award to Representative Yolanda Young.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. It is truly an honor for myself and my husband to receive an award given in your name. Working as state representative has provided limitless opportunities to serve the citizens of Jackson County, and my experience working with you and ad hoc certainly paved the way for this special work. Thank you for recognizing me with the Alvin Brooks Award.
Congratulations, Representative Young. To present our last award, before we hear from our keynote speaker, I am pleased to introduce the chairman of the Crime Stoppers Board, Steve Cox.
Thank you, Rick. It is my distinct honor to present the 2020 Crime Stoppers Officer of the Year Award to Master Police Officer Ellen Day of the Shawnee Police Department. Throughout her career, Ellen has been a consistent and knowledgeable resource for other officers, detectives, and staff. For as long as she's been with the department, she has served as a trainer for CPR and first aid, and she's the custodian for the department's AEDs. She's also a go-to detective for phone downloads and data analysis. Detective Day's role for the past several years as infection control officer has become a constant task since the reality of COVID-19 reached our state in March, and her ICO role has extended to the organization of the city of Shawnee as a whole. From the start of the outbreak locally, Ellen participated in daily conference calls with Johnson County officials regarding COVID, relaying and expanding on best known practices for how to mitigate spread in the agency. Detective Day also participated in the city management team meetings, which were often held twice a day, to advise on how and when the city would respond to a COVID case or an outbreak within our departments. Notably, she was the only non-supervisory line-level employee in these meetings. Working with members of the Johnson County Crime Lab, Detective Day developed the idea to utilize existing equipment to set up an N95 mask sanitizing cabinet. This cabinet allows for the reuse of N95 masks for both the Shawnee Police and Fire Departments, thereby helping to ensure the health of our first responders, saving the city money, and allowing the agencies to keep a supply of this necessary protective equipment. During the quarantine, Ellen would respond to the station at least twice a week to sanitize masks. In addition, she continues to help schedule and orchestrate COVID testing for employees who were exposed or exhibiting symptoms and conduct department-wide training on COVID-related matters. Detective Day, you've demonstrated diligence and excellence in your work every single day in this unprecedented time, and I congratulate you for being named Crime Stoppers Law Enforcement Officer of the Year.
Thank you, Mr. Cox, and thank you to Crime Stoppers for the honor of being named the 2020 Crime Stoppers Officer of the Year. I am proud to serve the city of Shawnee and share this award with my fellow officers of the Shawnee Police Department.
Thank you to our distinguished award presenters, and congratulations to our 2020 award winners. It is now my privilege to introduce our special guest, Dallas Chief of Police Renee Hall, a remarkable individual and a highly accomplished law enforcement executive with more than 20 years as a public servant. Since 2017, Chief Hall has led the Dallas Police Department. Prior to Chief Hall's appointment in Dallas, she served as the Deputy Chief of the Detroit Police Department. Chief Hall has earned 2 Masters of Science degrees, 1 in Security Administration and 1 in Intelligence Analysis. We want to thank Chief Hall for sharing her experiences and for her wisdom. Here is Laura Morris and Chief Renee Hall.
Chief Hall, it is so good to see you, and thank you for joining us for this really special Crime Commission luncheon.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about Kansas City. You know, I was a finalist in Kansas City and Dallas at the same time, and I chose Dallas. So maybe one day for Kansas City.
Well, you are always welcome. You're always welcome to come here. There's so many different things that I would like to talk to you about, but first, given the state of where we are as a country with our law enforcement officers, I know that you implemented specific programs in your department to speak to officer wellness. The amount of pressure and the amount of stress is unbelievable, even for an outsider to witness. How do you handle that among your men and women?
So thank you, Laura, for that question. Officer wellness has always been an issue in law enforcement. I've been in law enforcement 22 years, and we have always had the highest level of alcoholism and substance abuse. Domestic violence was more prevalent with us, and even suicides. So the wellness of an officer has always been paramount in leading an organization, but now more so than ever. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We have protests and civil unrest. And right now, law enforcement has been demonized. Some of the officer-involved shootings and use of force incidents that have come to light have really put the spotlight on law enforcement. And we'll get into whether or not that's fair or unfair. But with all that stress, it is important to keep our men and women healthy. The stress of the job every day is one thing, but to add on makes it very, very challenging. When I got to the city of Dallas, what was important to know is that just in 2016, a year before I arrived, 5 officers were killed in an ambush after a Black Lives Matter protest. And so the officers were distressed. There was a lot of healing that needed to take place between the police department and the community, and just emotional well-being that needed to take place. So getting here, the first thing that I had to do was to create an atmosphere that it was okay not to be okay, but it wasn't okay to stay there. So we had to be okay with the fact that we needed to identify that there were some challenges emotionally and physically for some of us, and creating programs around that, increasing our peer support, making sure that officers knew that they had peers and a counseling group to respond to any situation that they may have, and that they could contact morning, noon, or night. Also increasing the number of clinical psychologists that we had on staff and making them more available, bringing them out to daily details so that they could talk to the officers and just get a sense of what was going on and encourage them through their day, creating videos so that they knew where to go and get those services. We also have partnered with University of Texas at Dallas, and it is a study that provides officers with watches, kind of like smart watches, that would allow them us to monitor their heart rate, their anxiety levels, and all of those things, working with our associations to create a very anonymous program of contacting psychologists any time of the day or night, so they would have access to these individuals, and creating an atmosphere for their wives and or husbands to also seek counseling, because it just doesn't impact the officer, it impacts the family. And so creating that atmosphere here in the Dallas Police Department has been one of my greatest rewards. It's still challenging because getting people to really buy into it and come forth with their challenges is still something that we battle. But we're seeing more and more officers very open about how they feel and what they need in order to be successful in these careers.
And that's really impressive, Chief, because when we think as a civilian of law enforcement officers, they are strong, they are tough, and they walk in when someone's at their lowest point and needs help. So getting a law enforcement officer to actually recognize and say, I need help, is really incredible.
And the push for that was to encourage them and get them to understand it is the strongest person who is able to admit when they need help. So, you can't pour from an empty cup. So we have to ensure that our cup is full, that we have what we need, both mind, body, mind, body, and spirit, in order to be able to pour into others, because that's what we do when we respond, when we show up for the domestic dispute, for the shooting, for the abused child. We have to then pour what we have into others. And if what we have is empty, then we have nothing to give. So that was the message. And we continue to encourage each and every day our officers how to pour into themselves, how to continuously fill up their cup, because every time they go out into the street, they empty it. And so that's exciting for me. It's rewarding. I'm encouraged. And I'm encouraged because I see officers responding and saying, Chief, I do need to talk to someone. We also here, I created critical incident days. So if an officer responds to a critical incident, a suicide, the death of a child, or abuse of a child or an individual, they are able to take 3 days, automatically and regroup. Some officers take them. And we had a conversation about whether that would be abused very early on. And I am elated to tell you that the officers use them very responsibly. Those officers who feel that they need them, they take them. And then there are officers who say, Chief, I'm okay. And if I need them, I will take them later. So I'm encouraged, as I said before, by creating an environment that gives them options and lets them know that it's okay to reach out and ask for the assistance that they need, and then provide that assistance to them.
That's terrific. Thank you so much for talking about that, and that should feel encouraging for all of the law enforcement officers who are listening today. Let's move on. So many police departments are having budget cuts, and especially in this time where there's been demands to defund police departments, et cetera. But you managed to increase the base salaries of officers and keep your budget on track. How did you accomplish that?
I just want to say that is a combination of collaboration with city and elected officials, our associations, and the men and women in the police department and our community as a whole. One of the things that we have been able to stress is that a city without a strong law enforcement entity is a weak city. We need law and order in order for us to thrive in economic growth and development, and just in community. And so what we focused on is understanding that officers need to be compensated for the work that they do, and that this profession, like any other, is competitive. So we had cities around the Metroplex that were making more money than our officers were. And as the city of Dallas had experienced back in 2015, 2016 with pension crisis, that when officers are not receiving the proper compensation, they are going to go elsewhere. So we wanted to maintain the talent that we had, and we wanted to attract more. And so creating an avenue for increased starting pay, as well as a tiered system that allowed them to top out. And I promoted more, giving tests, and offering an opportunity for officers to promote and move around. That was the atmosphere that we bred, and it became lucrative. And then we had a robust recruiting effort going to various areas like New York, John Jay College, partnering, doing on-site testing in those cities where we would normally do all of the testing and the physical agility and all of those things here in Dallas. We took that on the road to New York and Chicago, and we were able to increase the numbers that way. New York is probably the top spot right now. It's the #1 place that we recruit. Each class has 5 to 10 individuals from New York in our classes. So we're excited about that. We've been able to increase the number of individuals in our police department that reflect our community. Our demographics are compatible to those that are within our city. And so we're excited about that. And we know that the pay and the benefits was a huge part of that.
That's impressive, Chief, that you are not only recruiting from your own community, but all the way to New York City. Talk a little bit more about your recruiting efforts and how, with increased salaries and this tier system that you explain, people from all over the country are coming to your department.
Yes, I mean, we have to remember the city of Dallas is one of the best police departments in the country. I mean, we're home of the Cowboys. I mean, come on.
Wow. We'll let that slide.
We have so much to offer, and law enforcement is a critical part of our future. And so making sure that we market exactly what we do, and not allowing the stereotype or the narrative that someone else puts out to define who we are. I think that Dallas has done a great job of exemplifying exactly what excellence in law enforcement looks like. And so we've been able to take that on the road. We're excited about what we're seeing in Chicago and New York, but even more excited about right here at home. Because one of the things that has been huge for me is community policing and community collaboration. And having homegrown police officers who know their community, who have lived, worked, and played within that same area, and now being able to enforce the laws in that area, it makes for a greater relationship. So we've even created a pipeline. We have 3 high schools in the city of Dallas, Carter, Bryan Adams, and Sunset, that are pipelines to the police department. They have, we've partnered with universities. They get an associate's degree through that criminal justice program. So at 18 years of age, we hire them to the police department. They work in a non-sworn capacity until they're 19 and a half. And then we bring them into the police academy. So we're growing our own police officers right here in the city of Dallas. We've been able to see the numbers larger than they've been in 6 to 10 years coming through the police department. Our applications are up. The only reason why we're not able to hire as many in this next fiscal year is because of COVID, and our classroom sizes have to be smaller. But the applications are still in, and we're excited about what we're going to see in the future for the city of Dallas.
That's awesome. You know, you talk about community policing, and now more than ever, it seems like it is critical to bridge between the people and the police. What are you seeing through your community policing that is enhancing those relationships?
So let me talk about what we're doing here. Advisory boards. What we have to make sure that we do is we give people a seat at the table. Oftentimes what we see is that there are community activists, and then there are agitators, and then there's the police. And what we've done historically is, because we don't necessarily align with that activist or that agitator, is that we isolate ourselves from them. It creates more tension. I have given each community activist, agitator, clergy, community involvement person, philanthropic group, business owner, a seat at the table in the Dallas Police Department through an advisory board and an advisory council. They serve for a period of 6 months. They have been able to change general orders. They bring things to our attention as a police department that we don't do correctly. I mean, we operate from the lens that we believe is the best. But when you allow for outside influence and or criticism and critique, you're able to then create the kind of department that a community can trust, and they actually say this is legitimate. And so something as simple as the day I walked into the police department, Dallas didn't have a complaint process. If you wanted to complain on an officer, it was easier to pull your own tooth. And so it was very difficult for the community. So we sat down, we brought the advisory board in, we created a complaint form, placed it in every substation, library, ACLU, it's online. And that process ultimately turned into having an oversight board. They wanted an oversight board, had been trying to get one for almost 40 years. It was a very taxing process. And there are still members of this community who don't agree with having the police department have an overseer. But I believe that we in law enforcement do things right 99.9% of the time. And people should know that. And that time that we don't get it right, we are not ashamed. We're holding ourselves accountable. We're allowing the community to hold us accountable. So I was in favor of an oversight board, and we have one. And that came out of having these individuals at the table. A lot of other changes to our general orders came out of letting individuals have a voice and have a seat and listening, not just letting them talk. We think community policing is interacting, but if there's no response to the interaction, then we're just interacting. And so community policing is about listening to one another and responding to those needs and some of those wants that both sides is asking for. And that's what we've done here in the city of Dallas, and we've seen some success. A whole lot more work to do because law enforcement is very complex. And so I think, but if we continue on that road, we'll be successful.
Chief Hall, what would be your words of encouragement, your way of propping up all the men and women in all the police departments in our country who are really in a struggle on so many different levels? How would you encourage them to continue to work in their communities?
I would say to them, each and every one of them, that the Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. What we do is divine, and it is a calling. And most of us did not sign up because we were going to be rich, because we're not going to be. That's not going to happen. And we did not sign up because it was going to be easy. We signed up because we have an innate desire to take care of others. And I would just encourage each and every one of them to hold on to that divine purpose of taking care of those who cannot take care of themselves, and understanding that there is a greater reward for that. It is challenging. Each and every day it becomes more challenging, but it does not negate the fact that we chose this profession because we truly care about people and order and lawful societies. And I just think that we should remember that. We should continue to hold on to that, and we should encourage one another. And whenever we feel ourselves becoming depressed and or I don't even know the word to describe, but we feel as if our work is in vain, I think we need to reach back to the reasons that we chose this profession. And each and every one of us will realize that that is our divine purpose. That is what I believe, and that's what I encourage.
Well, Chief Renee Hall, we know that your travels are taking you elsewhere, but we so feel blessed that you joined us today. And I feel as a journalist, it is so important for us to watch out for our law enforcement members, that is for sure. Any parting words for all the Chiefs fans in the room?
I just want to, commend each and every one of you for the work that you do. This is a challenging job, but nothing more rewarding. I want to say, stay in the fight. We have a lot of work to do. This is a pivotal time in our society, in our country, in this world. And there's some difficult decisions that have to be made. Oftentimes, this job is hard because you didn't become a police chief to make friends. And some of the decisions that you're going to make is going to cause more dissension than it is bringing people together, because you have to balance the needs of the officers, the needs of the community, the needs of the elected officials. And all of them are different at any given point in time. But you were selected, each and every one of you, as I was, to change the trajectory of law enforcement, to implement 21st century policing that continues to legitimize what we do, to build trust between ourselves and our community. Continue the fight, stay in it, always do what's right. Hold yourself and everyone around you accountable for the truth and not the popular opinion. This is not a popular job. You're going to be scrutinized from every level. Disregard the noise and do the work. You guys have been a fantastic group that I've learned from. Some of you I've watched for many years and worked alongside. So I'm excited about what you're going to continue to do. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you in my next capacity. So thank you for having me.
All right. Good luck, Chief Renee Hall. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Chief Hall. We have one final award presentation, and we're going to go off-site for a little surprise. Good afternoon. We're here at the Lenexa Police Department today to present the 2020 Clarence M. Kelley Award to Chief Tom Hongslo. This is going to be a surprise. Joining us for a special presentation is Chief Honslo's family and Bill Carroll, Vice Chair of the Kansas chapter of the American Society of Industrial Security, otherwise known as ASIS. In keeping with our luncheon tradition of surprising the Clarence M. Kelley Award recipient, Chief Hongslo doesn't know we're here. So please come with me. Let's go have some fun. Bill and I are here today joined by his family at the back of the room. Obviously by his peers and the men and women that he leads here in Lenexa. To receive this annual Luncheon Award. You can now applaud. Tom began his career 30 years ago in the Platte County, Missouri Sheriff's Department. Had no idea. I'll be talking to Marc about that. After 3 years, he transferred to the Mission Police Department for 2 years before coming and arriving at Lenexa, which has been his home for the past 25 years. Congratulations on the Star Award today. He began in patrol, was promoted through the ranks, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, before becoming chief, as you all know, in 2012. While it's difficult to summarize a 30-year police career, some of the highlights for Tom include the graduate of the 2008 prestigious FBI National Academy, active member of the Kansas Chiefs Association, board member, Kansas Seapost, Metropolitan Major Case Squad, board of director, past president of the Metro Chiefs Sheriff's Association, and of course an active member of the IACP, International Association of Chiefs of Police. Interesting here with Tom's time in Lenexa, since serving here, his average citizen satisfaction rating for the city of Lenexa has been 95%. And in today's world, that is truly outstanding. Tom implemented many initiatives while serving as chief, including wellness checks for officers, bi-state law enforcement mutual aid legislation, body-worn cameras, and of course he's been on numerous other boards and leadership roles. He's also initiated many community policing initiatives that obviously have served him well, earning that high citizen satisfaction rating. Tom, it's easy to see that you enjoy high level of support from your personnel, as evidenced by the people in this room. You have served your agency and our Kansas City community with distinction, with impeccable character and professionalism, and we're pleased to present to you the 2020 Clarence M. Kelley Award. Bill?
So, Chief, on behalf of the Kansas City chapter of the American Society of Industrial Security, we present you with the Clarence M. Kelley Award. Congratulations, and thank you very much. It's a very prestigious award, especially to get in the year 2020 as the challenges have been laid in front of us.
Wow. That's pretty humbling. Thank my wife, Ellen. Sorry, a little emotional. I never thought I would get this award. There are so many deserving law enforcement executives out there. Following great footsteps. Alan Hansen got it. John Foster got it. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, the employees, the command staff, just a great department. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chief Hongslo. Well done, Tom. To all the men and women of our Kansas City law enforcement community, thank you for your perseverance in the midst of one of the most difficult years in recent history. You continue to respond to dangerous and complicated situations with resolve to protect all of us. Your perseverance and efforts are really appreciated. To our community of one sponsors, thank you for your generous support. In a year where many of you are dealing with the effects of economic hardship and loss, we are truly grateful for your commitment to stand with us in our mission to power a safer, better, greater Kansas City community. At the Crime Commission, we aim to advocate on behalf of our community. We seek to actively listen to the needs of our community as well as the needs of those who serve and protect us. And we are working to bring about unity and change in order to meet these needs.
Rick, the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission may be a relatively small nonprofit organization, but they have a big footprint in our community. And now more than ever, the Crime Commission needs us. People often ask me, well, what can I do to help? And although there are no quick or easy answers to the issues we're facing, I believe that the Crime Commission is uniquely positioned to bring our community and our law enforcement together for positive change. So please join me in supporting the Kansas City Metropolitan Crime Commission. In fact, you can offer your support today. Go to kc-crime.org or click on the Donate Now button. Kansas City, let's come together for a safer, better Kansas City. We are in this together. This is our home. This is our community of one.